So guys, would it be a little too soon to say that things got really lit at Yucatan last night? Hey, what's up, bookworms and bone hunters? You like that? We are back today to talk a little spoiler talk for the first half of the Bonehunters, the sixth book in the Malazan Book of the Fallen. So if you're still joined along in this read along, or hey, you're finding this a year from now, it doesn't matter. It all still means the same thing. So if you want someone who doesn't exactly understand these books to talk about them in spoilery detail for a bit, hey, that's what I am here for. So yes, the voice isn't exactly back to 100%, getting closer every day. But the thing is, guys, is I like to record these spoiler talks at the halfway point before I continue with the second half of the book. And with the way that the first half ended, I got to keep going. So I've got to go ahead. I ain't got time to wait for this to heal. I got to go ahead and go forward with it now. So we're going to do it, guys, because, this book is very, very good so far. We're going to talk about it in detail. This is going to be the prologue. This is going to be book 1, which is chapters 1 through 6. This is the Thousand-Fingered God. And then book 2 is chapters 7 through 11. That is, of course, Beneath His Name. So if you haven't read this far in the series yet, this video is not going to make any sense to you. But I would still recommend turning away now, coming back after you've read, bookmark this, come back then, and I'll try to help you with some of the things that I'm going through. Now, right up the front, guys, I usually separate these by, groups, but there's a lot of groups in this one. I think it's because it's finally, convergence. We've got all these characters finally coming together, and he doesn't have to spend so much time introducing new characters that he doesn't feel like he's got to break them into like 5, because each book is almost explicitly had 5 different groups that we kind of follow the whole time. But this one, I can think right off the top of my head, there's at least 6 here, and that's even with like not even really counting Ganos as a group, because since he has such a kind of a small part in this first half. But those groups are going to be Quickband, Kalam, and Stormy is number 1. Number 2 is Apsalar, Curdle, and Telerast. Then we got Karsa and Samardev, Leoman and Karab, Akari, Mamapo, and of course Crocus, Scalara, Greyfog, Boric, and Felison the Younger. Everybody got all that? But before I do that, I guess I want to talk about the prologue just a little bit here, guys, because there is some of it that plays into the main story a little bit. I'm going to do this a lot, so I hope you'll bear with me. I've drank nothing but green tea for days, guys. It helps, but it helps slowly. I thought Hellion was going to be a one-off character like in most Malazan prologues, it seems like. Not on most, because there have been characters who've shown back up. Obviously, Troll was in, House of Chains, the whole book. But basically, with Malazan prologues, I usually just kind of like take it as it comes, because these characters might not come back up again this book. So Hellion does show back up, but I want to bring her up because she has a big, like, fat fuck you for spiders, and I'm like, I am on that same team, so I like her already because, fist-sized spiders? Hell no. Don't tell me these books aren't grimdark, because that's the grimmest, darkest, scariest shit I can think of. I don't really have much to add about the Temple of Direct Slaughter. I don't know what's going on. I know that Banishar is basically like Obi-Wan Kenobi, like mind-wiping people and stuff. I really don't know what to say about there. I'm glad we got to see a little bit more of the Nameless ones. They release Dejem Nibral. Is that how you say his name? And we get to see Sister Spite. Now, am I right in believing that this is the sister of Lady Envy? I'm not sure if that's ever been explicitly stated, or if I'm just kind of like playing the odds here. Envy, Spite, haha, play on words. To me, it doesn't seem like it could be anybody else, really. But she bounces, and then the rest of the nameless ones are killed. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Then you get this Terralac Veed character you don't know very much about, who's just following what they released from. What is with the last 3 books releasing things that are sealed up for a reason? I don't understand what the need in this world is to be like, things have been sealed here. It might be a good plan to just go ahead and let it out and see what happens. But this one actually does seem intentional, even though it didn't really end very well. And we kind of end the chapter with Barathal Mekar. Now, I hear the name Mekar, I'm thinking Kalam, so I'm assuming that there is some relation there, but he's suiting up to meet some Talan Imas, and that is pretty much all we see of him in this first half. So I don't know really what that was getting at, but I'm sure it'll come back into play later. Now let's move into the first group here. It's Quick Ben, Kalam, and Stormy. I think Tavor was just kind of sending them to Yucatan before the Whirlwind Rebellion kind of gets there. But they get distracted on the way in the Imperial Warren when they start seeing the Kachane skykeeps everywhere, like numerous ones. All right, I'm still kind of grasping exactly what warrens are here, and now there's these giant skykeeps just kind of like floating around here. I think that the coolest thing about it is saying that, hey, maybe the Imperial Warren used to actually be the Kachane Warren. So that I'm still intrigued by the Kachane. I can't believe that we're not going to get more of this as the series goes on. I feel like, okay, they were kind of one and done. Really, Memories of Ice, they were kind of, they're kind of like an extinct race, and, they were just kind of reanimated in that. But are we never going to really find out exactly everything with them? I don't know. If I feel like I'm expecting more, it's just because I think they're so cool. It's such a cool, neat idea, and the fact that the Kachane are the ones who actually created these skykeeps, such a fascinating idea. So I just want more of that. Plus, it's dinosaurs. Who doesn't want more dinosaurs in their books? But they go explore one of them. They get really in deep shit in one of them. Cotillion has to kind of save their bacon here. Now, I don't know what's going on with Cotillion in this book. I do know I had a high five Stormy, who basically says, "Look, Cotillion and Shadow Throne always win because they don't play fair." And I'm like, that's pretty good. That's pretty accurate. But by the time they get to Yucatan, the battle's over, really. And I'll talk about more about Yucatan later. Don't worry, it's going to happen, guys. Obviously, but there they meet Apsalar, and that kind of shifts into the group of Apsalar, Curdle, and Telerast. I'm hoping those other characters get some bigger stuff, but I'll talk about them here because when they do meet Apsalar, there is a little bit more. But I'm glad that Apsalar's finally on her own. For each of these books, it seems like she's just been there for emo Crocus. And yes, Crocus, Cutter, whatever name he's going by this week, seems like that old emo kid at school who's like, "No, call me Flynn now," from Breaking Bad or something. Like he's just making up new names. And I know it's because he's going to be an assassin now, like she's an assassin. But she's a full-blown assassin now. And apparently a full-blown because she can use the Shadow Warren now. Did I miss that? Was she doing that before and I missed it? Her using the Shadow Warren? So I do say I am really liking this relationship with her and Cotillion. Before it was just like, okay, we're going to work together. He'd been in her head, so she had his memories and things like that. And so I was just kind of looking at it like that. Now it seems like, I don't know if it's that he genuinely cares for her as far as he's just like, he's got a shred of humanity left. And he's like, man, I've really fucked this girl's life up. And I feel bad about it. So there was one point where she like touched his face or something and I caressed his face. And the way I was reading, I was like, is there like heat here and I'm missing it? But almost like it's almost more like a father-daughter kind of thing. He kind of feels like he messed her life up so bad. And now her dad's dead. Maybe she just needs that father figure. And he's got him a good little daughter who'll go out and kill people on his behalf. But she, not only can she travel in Shadow Warrens now, she can also talk to ghosts. Is that right? Because Curdle and Telerast, I don't know what to make of these two yet. All I'll say is, I know this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, guys, and I hope that you'll just accept it. It's just my opinion. I find them way funnier than Tahol and Bug were. I didn't really land with the humor with Tahol and Bug. I find these much funnier. I don't know why. It makes me think of like a old married couple or something I think I'm going to steal this from someone else. I'll forget who said it. Almost like Billy Crystal and his wife and the Princess Bride. Kind of like that. Like they'll get along 1 second, next minute they can't stand each other. That's just kind of the play that those two do back and forth. It kind of makes me think of that. It's a perfect comparison there. But she does have a brief reunion with Ganos, and it seems that she does not remember stabbing him to death at one point. So it was not quite the reunion tour, I guess I was expecting. Like at first, I was like, oh, cool, these two were reunited. And I'm like, I don't think they really have too much to celebrate, though, do they? I guess I was just kind of thinking of him and Tattersail, really. That was obviously the big one. But that seems like 2 lifetimes ago, guys, that I read Gardens of the Moon. So that might be why that is there. But she meets up with Quickben's group. And I did find it kind of fascinating that she just knows things now, and I don't know if this is Cotillion telling her this stuff, what's going on, but she does kind of mention that he's been talking to Hood off the books, and the rest of the group finds that a little uneasy, and he's like, all right, you need to chill out. But I do think it's interesting that Curdle and Telerast do seem to be scared shitless of Quickben, so I don't know if there's something there in a previous life or whatever, or just he's a scary dude, if you really, really think about it. So the interesting things going on with them. I hope there's something, but she does decide to travel with them as it's part of her deal. Now I'm starting to wonder, okay, she's on a quest to assassinate somebody, so I hope it's not Kalam or Quickben, because those are my guys. I really hope that that's not one of the targets there, but I guess we'll see, right? And then we got the return of Karsa. You know, Karsa was my shining light in House of Chains, which is my least favorite Malazan book yet. But his parts were just awesome because I felt like he felt like a throwback to Conan the Cimmerian. And I know what? It continues in this book. So he meets Samar Dev on the road so he can have a traveling companion that he can basically tell to witness a lot and watch me kill all these things. He's killing bulls, he's killing giant lizards, he's telling her to witness, he's trying to sell t-shirts that say witness on it, I think, at this point. And you know what? I'm here for it. It's very Conan. Again, with the, hey, you know what? There's a big giant beast. I'm going to go kill it. That's very, very Conan, guys. And I love it. I love that he continues to do that. He talks at one point about basically destroying civilization. Again, something very, very prevalent in Robert E. Howard. So I'm definitely seeing those influences even stronger now. It isn't... Before I was kind of like, maybe it's just something I want to see. Now I'm like, it's something, it's unavoidable if you've read Conan, I think. And I'm here for it. I love it. I love when he goes and kills the giant lizard. But I got questions about that thing here in a minute. And also, I'm not sure about Samar Dev. I don't know if she's actually a witch or whatever. She just kind of wants Karsa to think that she is. I don't know. I've really got a lot of question marks for this one. I think it's just more so he wouldn't travel on his own in this book, so he has someone to kind of converse with, at least so far. For all I know, this is going to be a character who's there all the way with the crippled god. But as of right now, I'm not really sure what's going on. But I like their interactions, their banter. It's kind of fun. But the whole lizard thing, I don't know if that was a Kachain that he fought, because at one point he does reference it being a short tail. That just made me think back to the Kachain short tail. I don't know if that is what it is or just a big lizard monster, but it is kind of peculiar to me that when they start doing like an autopsy of this, dissecting it, they find like machine parts inside of it. So again, if it is a Kachain, they continue to be completely fascinating to me. I don't know what's going on there, but smaller part for Karsa, but I'm glad he's here. I'm glad he's here. As long as he just keeps showing up every 100 pages and killing stuff, well, hey, sign me up, right? Now I got to talk about Leoman and Karab. Now, this was my least favorite part of the book. At first, that changes quite quickly. Because at first I was like, oh man, this is more of that House of Chains waiting game, right? We're just going to sit here and wait the whole book, waiting for this battle that's going to happen. No, that is not the case at all. However, for a character I liked a lot, his last two appearances, Dead House Gates and House of Chains, I gotta say, Leoman kind of shows his true colors in this, man. He slays the Falad of Yucatan and names himself the new Falad. He beds Dunsparrow. He makes backroom dealings with the Queen of Dreams. If I read it right, he never really had any intentions of actually winning this battle. He just kind of wanted to take out as many people as he could, let them burn, while he makes a little good getaway, kind of coordinates his own escape and lets the city, including his own people, burn. Now, the first thing I got to say about Yucatan is I asked myself while that was going on, is olive oil flammable? And then I remembered, guys, about a year and a half. You can go back and watch my, I think it was Why You Should Read Mistborn, and I'm wearing like a bandage on my arm. I actually started a olive oil fire in my kitchen, almost burned my kitchen down one day. Now it's just a little bit of olive oil. So that was, we had huge amounts of olive oil. So yeah, it was just utter destruction. Such a cool thing. I mean, as far as, hey, we're going to take out like a third of the 14th. You know what? This was the first moment when that first happened. I was like, wow, this might be the first time I feel like the rebellion actually has a shot of winning this. Well, not quite the case when I see that he didn't really care who soldiers he was killing there. But like I said, I liked him a lot. Dead House Gates and House of Cards with Karsa and stuff. But abandoning children to die like that, get fucked, man. That's irredeemable to me. I don't care. He can just go get butt fucked by Lorik at this point. I don't even care. I don't care. I hope he has a miserable death. I don't know if there's a redemption there, but there is redemption for one thing in this storyline. Is the best thing to come out of it, I think, is Karab. Karab was a character I kind of looked at as kind of, I want to say throwaway, but very much a background character, tertiary character. And he went from that to one of my favorite in the series in just this one very long and very amazing chapter. So I think that's something Erikson continues to do really, really well. So he'll take a tertiary character that's been there for a couple of books, and then he'll bring him to the forefront. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, this is one of my favorite characters in the series. So obviously the guy is very good at character work. He just does it when he feels like doing it. But when he does it, it matters. And he makes you give a shit about all these characters you never thought that you would. I mean, hell, if I go back to Gardens of the Moon, I remember I didn't give a jack about Fiddler, back then, but by Deadhouse Gates, I loved Fiddler, And speaking of Fiddler, he has some really, really great moments in this. Obviously, him meeting up with Karab is a great time, because I think you get to see that Karab has this idea of the Malazans just being monsters, and he meets up with this group and you realize they're not the monsters that they've been portrayed to be. And I think that's really cool. He even saves Fiddler's life at one point. Now it wasn't just to save it. He says at first it was to save his own skin, but I forget exactly what it was. But instant bonding between these two, I think, and it's really, really cool to see. And I gotta say, I love Fiddler sticking to those bridge burner ideals of first in and last out, because he is the last out of the underground catacombs they use there to get away. So but Karab basically staying behind to help those children escape instead of saving his own skin with Leoman. Obviously that's something that's I think that it's moments like that where people say this series isn't grimdark because you have characters that want to do good. I get that argument. This is one of the first real instances I can see that. Like I said, I can't say, hey, we just crucified 10,000 soldiers, but someone healed a dog at the end, so it's not grimdark. This is one of those moments where I'm like, okay, yeah, there are decent people in this world, and selfless people. So it was a really, really good moment. I like the character a lot. As for Yucatan, guys, look, I gotta say, the Siege of Yucatan is by far, without a doubt, the best battle in this book, this whole series, yet. And I know that a lot of people liked Capistan. I like Capistan a lot. I can't remember the one at the end of Memories of Ice was really big too. Siege of Pale is awesome. Guys, this blows away. This isn't even just the best battle in all of Malazan so far. This is one of my favorite battle sequences in any fantasy series that I have ever read. I would put it on par as far as as a chapter, because it's very long, 120 pages of mass market paperback. So it's a novella in length, most likely, because it took me 5 hours to read it. I'd say I'd put it right there with The Last Battle in Wheel of Time, Memory of Light. And the only reason I have Wheel of Time where I won't put it above that is because Wheel of Time, this was also a culmination of 14 books, This is the halfway point, but it's one of those things I think in hindsight, maybe I might look back and like it even more. But yeah, guys, this is just an amazing chapter, the best single chapter in the entire series up to this point, and it never once had a part where I was like, this could be cut out a little short. The honey trip ball scene was kind of weird, but it did serve a good purpose. So that chapter is just stunning. One of the best things I've ever read in fantasy. And if you're one of those people who I think were kind of on the edge about if you were going to continue the series or not, if you don't want to continue after that chapter, I don't get it, because I could not stop thinking about it for 2 days now. It's just so good. It's one of those things I think that people would just pick up that chapter and read that chapter. If you're not going to do a full series reread, like I'm not, I could see picking up that chapter and reading that chapter again, because it's just marvelous. It's just awesome stuff. Absolutely amazing. I could talk 2 hours about just that chapter, but I don't think my voice would hold up. Let's go move on to Ikarium and Mappo, two of my favorites. Now look, guys, Deadhouse Gates is still my favorite Malazan book right now. And it's because of these two. I love their storyline. I love their friendship. It's everything that I loved about that. And after House of Chains, I was scared that they were just going to kind of be reduced to cameos where they pop up every once in a while crossing somebody. They kind of cross paths with Karsa there for a minute in that book. So seeing that they actually get the continuation of their storyline here, very, very exciting. I basically just put a big Trell-sized smile on my face. I was very, very excited to see them. And, Ikarium's still searching for the truth, so we're not really moving too far ahead of where we were. And Mappo, he's kind of shelved his duty to the Nameless Ones now. And this is where the prologue comes back into play with Dejum Nabral being called up to go and bust Mappo in his ass for breaking his vow. It was one of those things, like I was saying right before this happened on the Discord. I was saying this is one of the things I don't get. I don't understand what Terralike Veed and Nezrim Debral are doing. Who is he hunting Nezrim Debral? I don't even understand what's going on. So when he attacks Mappo here and they go bye-bye off of a cliff, that's where I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. Duh, the Nameless Ones are pissed off. Now, as far as Mappo, I was never really worried. I was never worried about him dying. And now, look, it's not just because in Malazan, nothing really stays dead forever, right? It wasn't that. I was just following the first golden rule of fantasy, and that is no body, not dead. So that's where I was kind of at. So I was never really upset about that. I was just like, oh, that sucks that, Mappo and Ikariam aren't going to be together for a little bit. What made it actually do hurt was Terralak Veed basically 51st dating on Ikariam here, doesn't have any memory when he kind of wakes up, and he just acts like they've been traveling together forever, and they're old friends, and basically he doesn't even remember Mappo. And we're talking about thousands of years, guys. And like I said, I know he's got the 51st dates brain, but still, it really, really sucks. It just devastated me. So much history between those guys, and it just, he tells Ikariam the truth about his past, and it's awful. Calls him Slayer and all that, but then he basically lies about everything else. Like, oh yeah, I've been spending so much time with you. It sucks to be away from my family and stuff, but I'm doing my duty. Just a real scumbag. I can't wait until the time comes when Mappo gets to catch up with him and put a trail-sized club in the back of his head. That's kind of where I'm at right now. But, Iskral Pust. Oh my God, is this dude fuck or what? I couldn't believe this. Now look, he may be a goober, but it's flat out this dude can throw down, right? Because you got this thing where Nabral's just like inner monologue, like hyping himself up about how badass he is. And Puss shows up and he's like, peace, I gotta go. So dude is obviously, there's a reason he is the high mage of Shadow Throne here. And you can see why. The dude actually can, bust some tacks. And I love it. So the argument on the Discord has been, which one do you find better, Krupp or Pust? Pust by a country mile. I don't care that Krupp got brought up a minute in this book. I don't care. Pust by a mile. I love it. But yeah, really, really good. So that's kind of where we're at. But then let's go ahead and move on to the last group here, guys. This is Crocus, Sklara, Greyfrog, Aboric, and Felison the Younger. I won't lie, guys. I did not even remember Sklara. I was like, was she in a previous book? I didn't even remember. But old Ghost Hands, he wants to return to those Jade Hands, right? Herboric. So, look, Herboric is just going more and more insane. He's got so many voices in his head now. He's got gods. He's got spirits. I mean, dude's just having like sensory overload. He can't handle this. There's no way. So it's just making him more and more insane. And honestly, reading his passages are rough because I feel like all that's there is for the rereaders because he's dropping clues in there. So I don't really know what to say about that except, okay, cool, maybe I can get an explanation for the Ghost Hands, for the Jade Hands thing now, but not quite, but we'll get there in a second. But I think the most fun thing about this group is Greyfrog. I do love me an animal companion or demon companion, and since Aptorium was like cool for a second and then just like I got this little baby now, I don't even know what the hell happened with that character, but yeah, I want my animal companion. Well, it doesn't last long, right? But all this development for Aboric and Crocus, and Steve just murders the shit out of him, right? Now, like I said, I know if Malazan dead is never truly dead, right? So we could see all these characters again, but just to see this group completely slaughtered from out of nowhere, just nuts, right? I mean, you're just like chilling, and all of a sudden, hey, what just happened to my horse? Oh, hey, Crocus just got like impaled. Now, I remember Crocus got impaled. Greyfrog got like the legs chopped off. Sklara got cut, I believe. And then Aboric gets absolutely like turned into a voodoo doll with how much they're stabbing the Talano Master, just stabbing the shit out of them. And are these the same Unbound from what they were on the boat in Deadhouse Gates, and they were with Karsa? And the one same for the prologue. Is this the same Unbound? I think if it explicitly states that, I might have missed it just because of how crazy the situation was. But I remember all those people getting murdered, but I don't remember Felison the Younger, if she got away or if she got killed too. I don't know. Like I said, that maybe are they there for Felison the Younger? That's actually just saw that. That might make more sense of what the hell what happened. These are the same ones from the prologue. I guess that the other Makar like let in. I don't know. I just thought about these things. See, this is why I don't think about these things longer, huh? I don't know. But as far as this book, guys, look, this book has 100% met the hype. It is that good. It feels like catching up with old friends again. I like that. Really, with this one, you just kind of slip back in. At first, I was like, all right, well, this prologue, there's a bunch of characters I don't know again, but that's it, guys. After that, it's characters that you've really interacted with the whole series, and it's great. So that's what everybody told me. Get to book 6, and that's when everything clicks. So far, guys, they have told the truth. I'm very, very excited. Look, I flew through 600 pages of this bad boy in 5 days. And I'm making this video earlier than I planned because I want to keep going. So it's that good. I can't believe there's all that's happened in this, and there's 600 pages left. after Egoton, it's like, good grief. I mean, this is definitely like 2 books put together, I think. I don't know. I don't know what happens in the second half yet. But if it keeps up this same pace, it keeps up this same incredible story, guys, this is going to knock off Deadhouse Gates as my favorite Malazan book so far. Nothing feels like it should have been cut up to this point. Everything has made sense. I'm still a little confused on Ganos and the Daragoth and the Hounds of Shadow and talking to Shadowthrone. Although I do think it's funny that Shadowthrone thinks that Ganos is a big idiot. But yeah, that one's a little confusing. So I won't say does it make sense. Now look, there's just still Malazan. There's still little Malazan things that are going to be Malazan things where you're like, I don't get that, but I'm just going to roll with it. But less than usual. You know, I feel like this is the most that I've been 100% following a book up to this point in this series, and that's why I think I've read it so damn fast. You know, I mean, everyone's like, hey, if you got to read Yucatan in one day. Well, guys, I know most people can't do that, but if you can do that, hey, I recommend it. I definitely not one I think you should split into 2 days because there's just so much going on. There's definitely not a stopping point in there. If you do have to do a stopping point in there, and you're watching this, and I just told you everything, I'd say the part where they go underground would be the best part to switch into the next day. But as far as the actual siege going on when it first happens, yeah, read that in one sitting if you got a chance. But yeah, guys, this is really, really good. I'm really excited to continue. So I hope you guys are liking it as much as me. And so everybody, my guy Philip especially, who's been saying this is going to be your favorite Malazan book so far, you are correct. So I hope this pace keeps up, guys. So what'd you think of the first half of Bonehunters drop in? Did I say Deadhouse Gates a minute ago? I might have. Bonehunters. Obviously, I'm talking about the Bonehunters. Surprised I don't get more names wrong. But yeah, drop in the comments, guys. Let me know what you thought of the first half. Please, no spoilers for books 3 and 4, as I haven't done it yet. But I'm going to start like immediately after, while this is uploading, I'm going to start chapter 12 because I'm very excited to know what happened and how. Oh, I don't see if Habor can put himself back together again, but we're going to find out.